Hey, what's good with you? This is Birdman here with another episode of Burn the Books. Just to recap the episode that I made earlier today, Clemson did not cover the spread. They were a 3.5 point favorite against Kentucky, and as a Clemson fan, I was really happy that they actually won the game. They only won by 3. And frankly, I'm not going to lie, as a Clemson fan, I was ready to have Cade Klubnik burned at the stake. They had a really terrible game. Honestly, they really should have covered this. They forced a couple of turnovers inside of deep inside of Kentucky territory, and on one of them, they forced a fumble. And the very next play, he threw a pick inside of the end zone. I mean, I know. I mean, it's tough being out there and whatnot. I mean, I can't say anything. I was never a quarterback myself, but as a Clemson fan, I was pretty salty throughout most of the game. I know a couple of people that were happy by the second half outcome of that game, and then the second pick I had for you was the overs on the Notre Dame game, and Notre Dame, it was 40.5, and Notre Dame covered by 7.5. They almost covered it by themselves. That's the reason why I kept mentioning them. And then the third game, I had the overs on Ohio State, and the over on that game was 49.5, and they only got to 17. They ended up losing the game outright, 14-3. And funny story related to that, at my job, one of the customers that was there was like, "Hey, Birdman, do you like any games, and or do you like any picks on the Ohio State game?" And I was already 1-1 for the day, and of course I can't pick against my video that I've already made, right? So I tell him that I like the overs on Ohio State, and of course in the third quarter the score is 3-0, and he yells across the room. He's like, "Hey, Birdman, whatever you do, don't make a late life transition into sports stouts." Well, here we are on episode 25, taking another stab at it, and I hope to give y'all better picks than that one, obviously. The first game that they have for tomorrow is the Peach Bowl. We have Ole Miss is playing against Penn State. Penn State is a 4.5 point favorite. And Penn State has they've had 2 opt-outs that are headed to the draft. They've only had 3 players head into the transfer portal, while Ole Miss has a bunch of players that have headed into the transfer portal. And I don't know, they have not covered too many spreads recently, and in their last 5 games, they're 1-2. In their last 3, they're 0-2 with a push. Penn State is 2-1 in their last 3 games, and they're 3-2 in their last 5. One of the games they were a huge favorite against Indiana, and Indiana usually plays them pretty close. They ended up winning that game by 9, and then Michigan ended up beating them, covering the spread. I believe the spread was 3.5. I believe Michigan ended up winning that game by 6. The over-under on this game is 50.5, and if you have to pick a side on that, I know a lot of people do, I would tell you to take the unders. Penn State has been playing really good defense as of late. They haven't a lot of point in the last couple of games they played. Granted, it was against Michigan State and the like. I feel like Penn State is going to really try to shell out for this game, and say Ole Miss, I mean, granted, I mean they do have to play an SEC schedule and whatnot, but I do feel like Penn State is a better team. Man, we would have been 1-1 if I had told you to take the 0.5 point in the Clemson game, which we would have been down, zero point 0.1 units, which wouldn't have been so bad. But instead, we ended up being down 1.1, which is pretty unfortunate. Or excuse me, 1.2. So I'm going to tell you to buy the 0.5 point. In this game, take the Penn State minus the 4. And like I said, I mean, if you have to take a side on the over-under, I'm really leaning hard toward the unders. I think that Penn State is really going to show up for this game. The next game that we have is the Music City Bowl. We have Auburn is playing against Maryland, and the over-under is 47.5, and Auburn is a 6.5 point favorite. I'm not going to lie. I kind of flip-flop back and forth on this game. Maryland has a lot of people that are in the transfer portal. So Peyton Thorne is returning for this game. He had three pretty good years over at Michigan State. Auburn is a more run-heavy offense, but he still had a pretty decent year. He had more touchdowns than picks. I like Auburn in this game minus a 6.5, and if I had to take a side on it, I like the overs. Auburn has a freshman secondary, and again, Maryland has a lot of people that have opted out. And like Tagovailoa isn't playing. He hasn't decided if he's going to the draft or if he's going to come back or if he's going to transfer out. But he is definitely not playing in this game. So I like Auburn. I'm by the half point in this one too. Why not? And again, like I said, I would lean more toward the overs in this one, the 47.5. The next game that we have for you is the Orange Bowl. We have Georgia playing against Florida State. The over-under on this game is 44.5, and the Georgia is a 20.5 point favorite as it is right now because Florida State had a lot of players that are opting out. They have a lot of people that are injured. A lot of people are just flat out salty that they didn't make the college football playoff, and they're playing against Georgia. Brock Bowers is on the injury report, but he might play, and Georgia actually has no opt-outs for this game. They have like everybody's going to play. They want to try to go out on top one time. I do feel like 20.5 is a lot of points, but I feel like Florida State is going to be a completely different team without their leading, Jordan Travis is out due to injury. Their leading rusher is out. Their 3 top pass catchers are out. Their leading sacker is out. Of course, they have a lot of depth. This is a big school and whatnot, but Georgia, I feel like they're going to be very motivated in this game, and close to 90% of the money is on Georgia. It was enough to move the line 6 points, and I still really do kind of like Georgia in this game. So my pick for this game is Georgia minus a 20.5. The next game we have for you is the Arizona Bowl. We have Toledo is playing against Wyoming. Wyoming is a 3.5 point favorite. Over under on this game is 44.5. I have no pick for you on the over-unders in this one. I will tell you that, what's his name? Daquan Finn is going to be out for Toledo, their starting quarterback. They have a few players in the transfer portal. And the coach for Wyoming is going to be retiring after this game. Pretty interesting stat. He's 60-60 at Wyoming, so this is his opportunity to he's either going to close his career out at Wyoming as a winner or a loser. And I feel like there's going to be a lot of motivated players on the Wyoming side to send him out on top. He's had a really great football career. I'm taking Wyoming minus the 3.5. And we have one NFL game also going on tomorrow night. We have the Detroit Lions are on the road against the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas is a 5.5 point favorite. I saw that Dallas had 3 offensive linemen that were on the injury report. 2 of them questionable. 1 of them leaning more toward out. Tyron Smith is leaning more toward out. Detroit has no significant injuries. Detroit they've been a pretty decent road team if you take away the Ravens game. They've held their own, and of course, they have a pretty tough division. There's a lot of wintry games up there. This Dallas game is going to be played indoors, and everybody's expecting Dallas to win because they're playing at home, and they've got a pretty good record at home, and they're 6-1. But I feel like Detroit is going to be the play on this one, plus the 5.5. I would probably buy it up to 6. They've only been an underdog twice, and this is where you do your research, folks. I was looking at scoresandodds.com, and it said that the last 5 games that Detroit had played, they were 0-5 as an underdog. And that's like, I thought that, I didn't think they were an underdog that many times this season. So I had to go back and look, and they've been an underdog twice this year, and they did lose one of them. But the first time they were an underdog to Kansas City on the road, and they ended up beating the Super Bowl champs at home. So, like I said, Detroit holds their own, like I say, as long as you take away that Ravens game. I feel like that game and the San Francisco game clearly tells you where the Ravens are compared to everybody else in the NFL. You're foolish to believe that Lamar Jackson is not playing at an MVP caliber level. But I'm going to tell you anyways to take the Detroit Lions plus the 5.5 in this game. And I also have one NBA pick for you. We have the LA Lakers are on the road against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Minnesota is -4. I saw that Karl Anthony Towns is questionable, may not play. LeBron James and AD are also questionable for this game. With everybody being questionable, if I had to pick somebody, I'm definitely taking Minnesota in this game. I feel like without AD and without LeBron James on the court, I feel like Anthony Edwards is just going to run over everybody, and the Stifle Tower is there to play defense. I feel like Minnesota has a much better team if you're taking away LeBron or AD, either one of them. So take Minnesota minus the 4 points in this game. That's 6 of them for you guys. There's very little probability that we're going 100% on this. Use me as a sounding board, okay? I mean, I don't want to hear about how you lost your house. I'm just here. I'm nobody's Nostradamus, okay? Even the professional guys. I mean, they get them wrong all the time too. Being a weatherman and being a sports tout are jobs that you can do, and you can be continuously wrong and you can't get fired. And I'm not working for anybody, so I'm definitely not getting fired. So here we are. Anyway, enough of my tangent. I'm hungry. I'm about to go eat. I have to go hit the gym tomorrow morning. I appreciate you guys for tuning in, and we'll see y'all next time around. Good luck to everybody, and like I said, let's say fade them or take them, man. I'm having a lot more fun doing this than I was to start. I'm not anywhere near as nervous, and I'm looking forward to having some picks for you guys for the Sunday night games, or for the Sunday games just in general. And we'll see y'all next time. Thank you for tuning in.